Ladies and gentlemen, college football is so close. I can smell it. Week 0 next weekend. Have it's Kansas State versus Iowa State. Sorry, I had an
Mhm.
aneurysm there for a second. But there's still some storylines coming out of camp, including quarterbacks that have ultimately ended up winning their position. Still a heated quarterback battle in a Power 4 school right now, among many other topics that Jay Tuck and I need to get to. Jay, how you doing, man? Talk to me.
Good, man. Like you said, week 0 is next week. So we finally get some college football. Actually, next Saturday, we also have Kansas playing in week 0 versus Fresno State, which Kurt Warner's son has won the starting position for Fresno. So he'll be starting his first college
You did.
football game. Yeah. So I get to see young, makes me feel old seeing Kurt Warner's son out there playing college football. So it's exciting time, man. We were just talking about it, but this is like my last free weekend to kind of rest and relax. So I'm going to Vegas in the morning, but after that, man, I'll be back ready to work. So,
Oh, really? You're going to Vegas? Dude,
yeah,
you were
man.
a regular. You were a regular at Vegas.
Oh yeah, man. I love Vegas. I probably go to Vegas probably like 9 times a year. So I'm actually going back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that.
So do you have like one of those preferred guests and stuff where like you gamble a certain amount and like you like have rooms on the hotel or is it
Yeah,
not kind of
kind of.
sick,
Yeah,
dude?
kind of. With my sports
Okay.
betting stuff, you know what I'm saying? So they always welcome me out there. But funny thing, some of the sports books got me limited where I can only bet like $17 on some of their apps. So I'll
I
stay
remember
away.
you were telling me that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always a good time in Vegas. I'm actually going to a Backstreet Boys concert. It's my wife's birthday,
Oh
and that's
yeah.
what we want. So yeah, we're going to yeah. But yeah, Circa. Is that
So
Circa? Yep.
so tell me, have you ever been to this bad boy right here? Is this
Outdoor
the place
concert.
that
Um,
It's
you're
the
talking
only
about?
place.
Yeah.
I have, but I haven't.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say I haven't because I was so out of it when I was there. I really didn't. I don't remember much. But yes, I've been in that location before.
Someone get my guy a $35 water bottle. All right. Because he needs to
well,
end up figuring it out.
Well, the funny story, man, at the NFL draft was in Vegas that year. And, the second day of the draft, I told the radio station here in Kansas City, like, hey, man, it's Vegas. I have some friends coming down. I don't plan on working for the radio station and doing any coverage, right? So day 1, you guys have me for the full day on Thursday. Friday, don't call my phone. So we had a pool party out there, cabana and everything. We were out there early, man. And Travis Kelce had a party and Gronk. It was just bananas, right? So the
Yikes.
director from the radio station calls me. It's like, hey man, I need you to break down the draft for the Chiefs draft. And I was like, I told you don't call me today because I wasn't paying attention. But so finally one of my friends is like, Tuck, just go handle it. So I am sitting in the lobby of the Wynn Hotel being fed bottles of water. And I don't know what happened, but all my drafts, I'm just breaking down Trent McDuffie and all sorts of stuff while my friends were feeding me waters and stuff like that while I was out of it, man. So always a good time in Vegas, one of my favorite cities.
Okay, so you're telling me you're leaving tomorrow. You'll be back on Sunday, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Sunday.
So are you going to be in rough shape on Monday for the show, or should you be able to be okay?
I'll be all right. I'll
That's
be all
good.
right. Yeah,
No,
I'll be
no,
all
no,
right.
dude, yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I'll be
that's
all right.
good. Yeah. Water between each and every single drink. You know what I mean? Solid sauna visit if
There's a difference
necessary.
between Vegas guys trips and wife trip. For the wife, so I'll be okay, right?
It's some
Now,
Backstreet Boys things too. But like, say for example that I was getting dragged to a Backstreet Boys concert, I'd probably need to get smashed.
right,
I'd
right.
probably need to.
Just to blend in, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. So it might
Yeah.
happen, but in a few weeks when I go to the Canelo Crawford fight, I might need a PTO day out there, because it's going to be
Dude, you got to bring me to Vegas with you sometime.
Come to Vegas. Come. Let me know, man. We can definitely live life in Vegas. The Dallas Cowboys play the Raiders out there in November, so I'll be back out there in November. Like I said, Vegas is my home away from home, man. Love it.
It's your home away from home.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of great college football to discuss today. And
Speaking of
I think
betting,
the biggest thing is, I'm not sure if you ended up seeing that controversy with John Mateer from Oklahoma, where somebody like went into the damn trenches of his Venmo transactions, and they ultimately ended up catching him, or quote unquote catching him for sports gambling. Thoughts on that? He did come out with a statement. He said that it was inside jokes with his buddies, and I got to tell you, I do empathize with that because when I was in college, me and my buddies went through that phase where like, say for example, like my buddy bought me lunch or something like that. What I would do is rather than just putting the fries emoji, I would write something super embarrassing for him since it was publicly. So thoughts on this? First off, what an asshole for digging that deep, right? His Venmo transactions, for the love of God. But thoughts on all of this.
I commend you for saying back in college, because I still do it on Venmo. I always got to put something out. Yeah, I got to put something out there. Just never know who sees it, right? Even my wife Venmo me, I'd be like, "Thanks for last night" or something like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand, probably where this kid's coming from. It was probably just an inside joke. But what these kids have to be aware of, we are in the clout chasing era these days, right? And every little thing can be used against you. And John Mateer is one of the premier quarterbacks that happened to trend in the transfer portal this year, going from Washington State to OU. This is probably someone just being bitter, looking to get something on this kid. I really wouldn't read too much on it. But when you think about sports betting, funny you mentioned Vegas earlier, right? I saw a report, and I think it's like 2 days ago, I was reading that probably like 75% of males from the age 21 to 47 has some type of sports betting app on their phone, whether it's Prize Picks, Underdog, you name it, right? So it's getting even more popular, and it's growing, where it's almost coming to staple and standard, to even where Vegas is starting to struggle as far as dollars coming in, because you can sit at home and sports bet for your own house. So it's coming more trendy, more popular. You saw what happened in the NFL when it came to the Detroit Lions and sports camp. I'm not sure how you actually get a grasp on it. I don't think he was taking any bets. It doesn't seem like it, right? But you think about what happened with Ohtani, right? It's always going to be these little workarounds when it comes to gambling and sports books and betting and college football players. And these kids are younger. They now have money. And we all know when we were back in college, we always thought we could get away with something. I'm sure there's a bunch of college athletes who feel like they can get away with it, whether it's their auntie, cousins. Because I saw a podcast with Michael Porter Jr. His brother was on there, Kevin, and he was talking about, sometimes what he would do is he would give his friends like $10,000. And if he knew, like, hey, man, my ankle's a little hurt, so I'm probably not going to play a full game today, he would tell his friends to take the under, so that's what Michael Porter kind of got in trouble for. And so when you have friends, like it's going to be hard to really gauge it. But even back before we legalized sports betting, as massive as it was, I always felt like there was some shadiness when it comes to sports. As a Dallas Mavericks fan, I remember kind of getting screwed over in the finals with the a referee who went to jail for betting on, it's always been some shady stuff going on with it. And I'll tell you this, Dan, the closer you get to sports betting and you really understand it, it gets eerie how close these lines are. Like there's some games like 21.5, right? And he might score 21 points. Like, how did you get that close with your analysis? So, I don't think John Mateer was really engaging in gambling. I think he was just having some fun, but the optics of it doesn't look good, because there's probably a lot of kids at the college level that does do that, especially via Venmo or Cash App.
So it probably does happen, because I could have sworn about a month or so ago, we saw that controversy where that young athlete DMs were leaked, where some disgruntled player, he ended up sending over pictures of the playbook, and he was telling, hey, man, listen, was the Memphis game, I want to say, from last year. Yeah. That one. Yeah, like some player, I guess, got so pissed off because like he was cut or something. I forget the story, but like he was basically like, look, this is what you look for. So this one safety, he's playing on a bum leg because he has no more eligibility. Just go on ahead and target him. And I want to say that Memphis was heavily favored during that game, but because of those DMs being leaked, it all ended up making sense. And so do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he sent like all the like, oh, if we do this, this is what the coverage is. And so it gets crazy, because now, one, you have the transfer portal, right? Two, you have these kids, they're making tons of money with NIL. But three, you also have players that are just disgruntled for whatever reason, right? And they could care less what happens, because more than likely there's not going to be any legal repercussions when it comes to the, acting like that. So it's crazy, because it's like, you can just tell somebody, or it might be something that's simple. And it's like,
Yeah.
As a trader, it's almost like inside trading. Like I feel like if you're going to legalize or kind of handle it, you have to kind of do it like that, because like I said, that little information, if I can say, hey Dan, hey, take Jalen Milrose under because he has a hamstring issue, but he's trying to fight through it, right?
Yeah.
That might be some information that is not going to be leaked out to the public medically wise. But if I'm on the team, I can just say, hey, cousin, like, yeah, man, I don't think we're going to win. I don't think we're going to win today because Milrose he's been out with a hamstring injury, but he's going to try to force it out. Then that can let me know the cousin goes and bets the under on Jalen Milroe and tells all of his friends. And so it's going to be difficult to see how he gets the reins on it. But I will say this. In fairness to these kids, sports betting is a dirty, grimy game anyways, man. I've had friends who's made thousands of dollars and the sports book has just voided their bets just for the hell of it, right?
I've heard that before too. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's like, if you can get the edge on them, get the edge on them, kid, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think that this transaction is real. I think that this has like the Photoshop like written all over it, but this was where the controversy was. It was Taj Rael from Memphis. He leaked it to Josh McCown's son, who was at UTSA last year, and he just cleaned Memphis's clock. And no one had UTSA winning that game at all. Right. So I don't know. Sounds like John Mateer ended up dodging a bullet. At least it sounds from all sources that it's not being investigated. And he ultimately ended up.
There was also another kid, because I think it was another kid because it was more detailed than that. Because
was his former teammate over at Washington State.
Yeah, I think which is funny because Washington State, that's where John Mateer came from, right? So all right. So yeah, because he was telling signals, all sorts of stuff. Like he gave the whole skinny. So it's all right.
Well. So I'll tell you what, man. He at least perceivably dodged the bullet. Noah comes in. Go Dogs is what I'm talking about. Go Buckeyes is in the chat. Go Gamecocks. We have 2 SEC. We have a Big Ten in here, which is great. But I did want to switch over. The quarterback controversy, the quarterback battle has been decided. Ty Simpson is now the guy over at Alabama. And look, I got to tell you what, man. There is a lot of pressure on this young man.
Yeah, it is.
I'll tell you that much. I really genuinely believe that, because everybody is predicting that Moore is going to take this team back to the college football playoff. I think we've come into full agreement that their defensive line, trenches are there, wide receivers are there, running back is there. I think it all relies on Ty Simpson. Who are you thinking, or how do you see this turning out? Was this the right decision for the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Yeah, as I've been speaking on the show, well, hopefully they don't win week 1, right? But I've been very vocal about
Florida State, baby.
Like go with a different option, right? But I felt like Ty Simpson was going to be the lead dog, even though Austin Mack did transfer from Washington over to Alabama. I just felt like Ty was going to get the opportunity to lead the charge. You've been hearing about him, all since Milroe left. You see him right there with Bryce Young, so he does have that experience of just being in Alabama. So he's going to be the lead dog. He's a dual threat quarterback, not as crazy or sexy attractive as Jalen Milroe was, of course, but he's going to be more than enough capable to lead Alabama, especially with their run game. So I feel like they did make the right decision by going with Ty Simpson. Like I said, Austin Mack was a quarterback, came from Washington, has a strong arm, lots of throwing power. So he kind of gets that excitement, but he's very inexperienced, hasn't played in a lot of games. And when you're playing Alabama football versus Georgia and those types of schools, you need someone with some leadership. And I think that the key thing about when it came to Alabama was making a decision now. We'll talk about some other schools, right? Because you don't want to kind of go into week 1 as a team or a unit, still not knowing who's your quarterback, right? Still kind of having that dark cloud. I think going in after the first, first game, scrimmage game they had last week, I think they have another one this Saturday, and to say, you know what, this is our guy. This is who we're going to go with. Now the team can really rally behind his leadership. So I think they made the right decision for Ty Simpson as he will lead the Alabama Tide into Florida State. Yeah.
Into Florida State, man. Listen, your quarterback really picked a battle right there, putting some bulletin board material up there.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, like you mentioned, Austin Mack, and now it's really starting to create questions. I wonder how short of a leash Ty Simpson is going to have, because when you look at Austin Mack, he actually is familiar with Ryan Grubb's system.
Right.
Because he was the offensive coordinator back when Moore was the head coach, went to the NFL briefly. He's back in Bama right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if, say, for example, that Simpson goes out there, he lays an egg. Not that I really think that their schedule gets too difficult at the beginning. Let me just double check. You have Alabama schedule this year. We could pull this up. They have Florida State. I'm sorry. You have Louisiana, Monroe, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then afterwards, once you end up getting to Georgia, you get, well, maybe I should shift my tune real fast because I see this being a pretty favorable schedule for the Tide. But
right.
Would you say that Ty Simpson's on a short leash?
Yes, I would. Right. Especially if let's say for instance, he comes out week 1 versus Florida State and he's looking a little rough and a little shaky. Yeah. They could possibly pull the cord because that's the thing. Whenever you're going through this quarterback competitions, unless you win by a landslide, an interception here or there can definitely change the course of things. I mean, you can't even think about with Quinn Ewers and Arch, who we'll talk about as well today, right? Quinn Ewers was the guy, but Arch was just right there with them. And there were situations where, Ewers got dinged up a little bit. Then Arch comes in and he looks well and has those types of conversations. So, that's the one thing about college football, I'll say, no quarterback is really safe. I mean, we saw it in Alabama before with Jalen Hurts and Tua, right? So it's there can be situations where, okay, you're the guy right now, but as we get ready for Georgia, I don't think you're ready. So we're going to go with Austin Mack because he might have the stronger arm. So it can definitely change, but I think that Ty Simpson will probably be the starter week 1. I think he'll keep the job unless there's an injury.
Got to tell you what, man, a lot riding on this Crimson Tide's year, especially some rumors I think that we heard during SEC media days prior to this show even starting up again. So did you hear that rumor that Saban was potentially going to be coming back, where someone came up and said, hey, there's murmurs around that he may not be done coaching football? I'm not sure I buy that. I'm pretty sure he's done.
Yeah, I think Saban's done when it comes to it. I mean, if there's anything I can see him possibly doing would maybe be NFL and give it another crack at it. But I just think with the new landscape of college football, NIL, transfer portals, Saban he's just doesn't have the patience for him. He's doing good with the commercials and Aflac and all sorts of stuff like that. I would highly doubt that he comes back, but if he was to come back, he can pretty much write his own ticket. So, what would be the ideal school for him to go? When he come, if Alabama slides another 1 to 2 years, he comes and gets the spot back.
It's that or he's petty, right? Maybe he goes on ahead and he just goes full circle and just goes back to Michigan State.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe he just does that full circle situation, but he'd probably, I don't know, just imagine Nick Saban donning the Kentucky blue, right? One stoop, it's the one stoop, it's
Kentucky also when it came to Gruden, right? So Kentucky, I can do a little Photoshop. That looks kind of like Florida State colors to me as well, dude,
you know what, man?
Be a Knoll and
hey, listen, it's not completely off of the table.
Yeah, I might need to Photoshop that real quick and just put it out there and see, see if I can start something.
Yeah, exactly. Just sit on it, snack on it a little bit. Florida State fans, let us know your thoughts. Saban as the new guy. So I guess there is an epidemic going around in college football locker rooms. And this was actually pointed out by Josh Pate, something that I think is actually pretty interesting. It's not players getting arrested anymore. It sounds like that there is a confirmed report that there is a legitimate Power 4 quarterback battle going on right now. And one of the quarterbacks is addicted to their phone, meaning that in meetings, they are always scrolling and they are always on X, on Instagram, on doing their thing. That's kind of wild to hear. Wouldn't you agree? I understand these kids are 18, 19 years old, so maybe it's not as wild as I'm trying to portray it. I do think a lot of us, we see college athlete, and we just assume that they are, at their peak of maturity, but that is nowhere near the case. But that's crazy, right? That literally a Power 4 school, one of their guys is not paying attention, while they're deep into a battle, and they're just, sitting there with their Twitter fingers. What's going on?
I want to say I'm shocked by it, but I'm not, right? Someone who's around
Yeah.
teenagers, they are glued to their phone. And hell, not just teenagers, there's adults, right? And I just feel
Yeah.
like today's society, right? People are glued to their phones. Now, coaches, Jay Tuck is going to give you a little trick. So pay attention. This is not a sponsor, but it should be sponsored. So let's pull up my phone right here. And let's say I want to go to my Twitter account. All right. So I want to go to my Twitter account. I click on the Twitter app. But what does it tell me? It says this is a distraction.
Oh,
so I have a device called Brick, right? And it's a phenomenal tool. So all I have to do is tap my phone to the Brick app, and it blocks all social media on my phone until I go upstairs and tap it again. So that blocks all distractions. So I can't get on TikTok. I can't even get on the internet and go to Twitter right now because I've bricked my phone. So it's like a $25 device, and you just tap the back of your phone, brick it, it blocks it. So throughout the course of the day, when I'm watching film and I'm working, I'm really need to focus, I will brick my phone and no sort of social media notifications come to me, and I can't even get on it if I wanted to. Now, you can have like an emergency break, like if I wanted to kind of just back it and break it right now, but after 2 of those, it starts to charge you, and it costs so much you don't even want to do it, right? So coaches, if I was you, if your players have this phone addiction, I would get the brick devices to come in and make every player, when they come into the film room, brick their phone. But you shouldn't have to do that at Power 4 conferences. But still, I understand, phone addiction, social media addiction. It's just the way society is. But yeah, there's ways you can kind of block it. And I use my brick daily. Even when I go to Vegas, I brick my phone.
So we got to think about like what Power 4 competition this could be, because we just ended up answering Alabama, right? So we got
obviously Ty Simpson wasn't on his.
It must have not been Ty Simpson. It could have been Austin Mack. It sounds like Austin Mack was just like way too in tune with his DMs or something.
Right.
But there is another quarterback battle that I suppose we could be touching on, and maybe that's it, because I think it's come to a shock that a lot of college football fans are shocked that Notre Dame has not named their starting quarterback. And I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this, because I ran across some TikToker where he ultimately ended up bringing up the old cliche where he says, it's either you have 2 quarterbacks. No, say that you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. And he also brought up the fact that what if Notre Dame is not announcing a quarterback because they have 2 incredible prospects, but they haven't named a quarterback because both of them are not living up to expectations at all, and they're both struggling, and they have no idea who to choose. It's between CJ Carr and then I think it's Hinkie or something like that.
Right? Kenny Minchie.
Yeah, exactly. From what I hear, it sounds like that Minchie, at least, of course, public-facing information is coming out about this kid, that they think that he has a slight edge because they can open up the playbook entirely, but CJ Carr, like, who knows? But question, do we think that that's the reason they haven't named somebody, because both of them are that good, or both of them are struggling that tremendously? Talk to me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when you look at it, like CJ Carr was, when Riley Leonard left, right, he was supposed to have just been the guy. So typically when you kind of go from the spring, naming your starting quarterback, and then you kind of get here to the fall, you pretty much have your guy, unless somebody really shows up and makes an undeniable fight for it. So maybe that's what Kenny Minchie is doing. I know Kenny Minchie's more of like a dual threat quarterback. He flashed a little bit in the spring game. I think they have another game Saturday as well for a scrimmage. So maybe he's just showing something when Marcus Freeman is sitting back and saying, okay, because typically, like, when you name your starter, unless they get injured or they just fall off a cliff, they randomly just get their spot just taken from them. But they both were big time recruits, but it must be something that Marcus Freeman is seeing in Kenny Minchie that, is causing this controversy or this competition, which I think quarterback competition is good. Because it just makes the team overall better. So I would kind of slightly pivot from what the TikTok guy may have said, right? Because if you can push this kid to be better than CJ Carr, well, that's going to only help Notre Dame football. But, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out with this. I think Marcus Freeman will probably name a quarterback probably by Monday after this game, because you're going to have to eventually. But once again, like you were talking earlier about Ty, it could be a situation where it might be Minchie right now, and then if he messes up, CJ might get the job back. And so, because Tom Brady even went through that, right? With Drew Henson. So it's like, I don't feel like. But the one thing I will say that's bad about this, though, is that at the quarterback, it's the most mental game or the most mental position on the field, right? And you don't want your quarterback constantly looking over his shoulder, because what's going to happen is he's going to be hesitant to be like a little gun shy, because if he makes a mistake, he's going to see Minchie over there, like possibly taking his job. So, I think it's going to be a tight race. If I had to gauge it, though, I think they'll probably name CJ Carr as their week 1 star. Because who they got? They got
like you have to.
They got a big opponent week 1, don't they?
Notre Dame has a really tough schedule. I'm actually curious. I want to say Notre Dame schedule. I want to say that they so they play that bum Carson Beck week 1.
Miami.
Yeah. So you have Miami followed by Texas, followed by Texas A&M. All right.
Right.
And then I guess they have Purdue and Arkansas with Purdue is going to be an absolute wash.
Right.
That one's going to be rough, but yeah, like it's really a cakewalk, man.
Right.
It's really a
but
cakewalk.
You can't afford to slide too early once, because you're trying to figure out your quarterback position. So
yeah,
you're going to need to, dial in. If I had to probably gauge it, I would probably say CJ Carr will probably just be the week 1 starter, but he'll be on a tight leash.
So you got to say that this team is just going to be running the damn ball.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Whoever can hand the ball off the best is going to win the job, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like. So with the X factor right there, it's got to be the X factor, because that's exactly what they're doing with Love. Like he's that offense. Make no mistake, is
Jeremiah
running through Love
over everything, right? Touchdowns, rushing yards, catches, just slam everything and prosper, because they're probably going to give him the ball early versus Miami and often.
So I got to give you a question on that. Would you have him as your Heisman favorite this year?
I would.
Really?
I would.
All right.
Not favorite. I would have him.
But Heisman conversation.
Heisman conversation. I think that you'll probably have Drew Aller probably in the mix. You'll probably have Love. I don't think Jeremiah Smith. You probably maybe have Cade from Clemson. Would they go defensive player? Probably not. I think who would be my 3rd or 4th? Yeah, but I would definitely have Jeremiah Love up there as far as Heisman considerations. Because if Notre Dame is going to be worth anything this year, it's going to have to be because of 4 right there. That's the only way I can see it happening. So
he's going
to have to have one of those seasons.
Yeah, most definitely. I am so looking forward to his 2,200 yards on the ground this year, because that's what I think that they're going to have to do. Which SEC team should be fired coming to UGA's Sanford Stadium? Will it be Alabama, Texas, or Ole Miss? Fired. What do you mean? Like who's
fired up? Maybe, or
which SEC team is going to lose as they come into Georgia? I think so. The Texas game worries me.
Yeah,
it definitely worries me, especially since like we have this hype video of Arch Manning circulating around.
I mean,
and please tell me you saw that, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I was gonna wait to see, because I know you had mentioned it. I just wanted to see it. We've been watching it live.
We gotta take a look, man. Like I feel terrible for Arch Manning, because he's not doing this himself. Like every single opportunity he has when he's asked about all the hype, like he's even had an interview where I've like heard and listened where like he said, "Oh yeah, I haven't deserved any of this," but you keep getting videos like this that probably makes a lot of haters root for his downfall. And there's some pretty crazy takes. Like, let's hear.
Can Manning play? His last name would suggest he can play very well.
I haven't met one yet that can't play. From the grandfather, Archie, and Eli and Peyton, the whole crew. So the answer is yes.
Simply for the fact that he's going to be in Sark's offense. Kid's ready for the moment.
Hey, Arch, I'll take that. Yeah, all day, dude. All day.
I've been watching this kid since he was in high school. I lived in New Orleans. He was at Newman High School. The hype around him, I think, is warranted.
There's no way he can't play, because everyone in that family is always going to play.
Given his athleticism, his speed, the physical component he brings.
I think that Arch Manning is a national championship talent.
Can Manning play? Let's hope so.
Arch Manning can definitely play. I think the ceiling's certainly high. Can Manning play? That's the easiest question I've ever been asked. He is going to be the most dynamic quarterback we have seen perhaps in a generation.
All right. So was that last take I heard? Was he is without a doubt going to quote unquote, and this is not my quote or J-Tuck's quote, the most dynamic quarterback we have seen in a generation.
Yeah, I'll probably roll that way. I was kind of vibing with it for a little bit, but I think it's like his name, Paul. I forgot his last name. Kind of a little
Feinbaum, dude.
Yeah, a little overboard. But I will say this, right? Besides just the name, if you took the nameplate off the back of the jersey, I think this kid is talented as all get off. Like I have watched him since high school as well. Every throw, the athleticism, and he's going to grow in that offense. He's going to grow with the mindset of being an NFL quarterback. But I think the hardest part is he's going to have that target on his back, and everything's going to be scrutinized. Now, here's what I'm watching, right? We had a quarterback last year with a very popular last name in Sanders, and now you have Manning. I want to see how some of the narratives are between the two, right? Because there was a lot of hate for Shedeur, which I don't understand like Shedeur, but he wasn't, of course, as flashy. So I want to see if there's going to be a lot of hate towards Arch as far as like the media wise, right? But like I said, talent for talent, this kid he's gonna be phenomenal. I wouldn't say it's because Cowboys fans get mad, but NFL teams should probably start thinking about considering the tank, and there's going to be teams that are going to strongly tank. I think there will probably be Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I'll put Jalen Hurts in there. Besides that, no quarterback is safe.
With Arch, we think that he's going to go into the draft next year, or is he staying
No. I don't think he's going to come out in this year's class. If he comes out, if Texas wins a national championship and he's like,
and he wins the Heisman,
I'll put Arch in that Heisman conversation because they're going to win enough games. So if Texas wins a national championship and Arch has a high caliber season, I think he will come out. But I mean, people got to understand, for some of these kids, going to the NFL is a pay cut. It's going to a pay cut. So I don't think Arch will declare unless he just accomplishes everything that he wants to do this year. But I still think he have 2 more years. And I think there's going to be a lot of NFL teams that are just be foaming at the mouth to get this kid in the house because, one, he's going to sell tickets like crazy. But just taking the nameplate off the back, he's talented. He's extremely talented. So I'm excited to watch him play.
Mm-hmm. So I hit you up right before the show, and I kind of wanted you to do a little bit of digging because when we talk Big Ten football, I think we almost always give the credit that is due over to Oregon, right? Mm-hmm. Still implementing a brand new quarterback. But I think the next question here becomes they've missed out on quite a few wide receivers from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Tez Johnson ended up getting drafted. That was a big piece of their weapons. I'm pretty sure they lost somebody to the transfer portal. And for the most part, sounds like they are going to be implementing new guys to be the faces of this. Is that so much of a concern to you for this?
It is. Because actually they lost 2 to the Dallas Cowboys in Trayshawn Holden, who's playing well in preseason, but they also lost their wide receiver coach in Junior Adams to the Dallas Cowboys as well, who was, probably one of the best wide receiver coaches in all of college football. I mean, Cooper Kupp speaks so highly about Coach Adams. So, then also they lost Evan Stewart, who was probably going to be their number 1 wide receiver. From what I'm hearing, it'll be a long shot if he returns. It's a possibility, but I doubt he returns this year. So you lose Evan Stewart. So that leaves you like with Gary Bryant. It leaves you with Jorian Dickey that you have right there. But then also you have DeCorian Moore, who was out of Duncanville, Texas. But he's a true freshman. He was a 5-star recruit, one of the top wide receiver recruits in all of college football this year. But he's a true freshman, right? He's 5'11", like 190, so he's not a big guy. And so to come in, and even though we saw, Jeremiah Smith kind of do it, right, to really rely on a true freshman to be your quote-unquote wide receiver 1, kind of leaves some concern. Now they did get Malik Benson, who's actually my neighbor up here in Leavenworth. But Malik Benson, he was a transfer went to Alabama. Well, he's a JUCO kid, the top JUCO wide receiver. Went to Alabama, didn't work out at Alabama. Transferred to Florida State, didn't work out at Florida State as bad as he was last year, and now he's transferred to Oregon. So maybe Malik Benson could be the diamond in the rough, and that finally clicks for him. That can really emerge. But I think overall, when you look at the Oregon Ducks wide receiver core, which they're always kind of notorious for, it's going to be vastly different from previous years. We're having like Tez Johnson, Trayshawn Holden, and some of those guys.
And so it's a lot of offensive turnover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying that they are going to like have a dramatic fall right from the Big Ten, but I think when you end up looking at their schedule, I'm sure it's probably Oregon's schedule. I'm just curious to take a look. You would assume that it's probably going to be a learning curve for some of this new personnel. So they do play Montana State. Is Montana State FBS or FCS? So remind me.
I think they're FCS.
I want to say that this is like the top 2 team in FCS football, or perhaps even one. It's located in there, but I'm sure Oregon will still smack that ass for sure. But then followed by Oklahoma State, with Northwestern, with Oregon State. I feel like they have enough time to put all the pieces together. I feel like they do, but it's interesting. Shifting the mold right now, let's talk about the national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So it's clear, right? So they are national champions. They're also going with a brand new quarterback. I'm still yet to be made aware of if they have decided on who they are running with. However,
I think Jalen was saying, right? I think that's probably the wrong.
Yeah, it's Visayan, and then somebody else also ended up making. Let me see who else it was. So Visayan, but then Lincoln Kindholes as well.
Okay,
is apparently showing some promise, but like one of the big things for me is that they are seeing some drastic changes with their coordinators. They had arguably one of the best wide receiver coaches in the country. He is now the offensive coordinator. He is now the play caller, if you will. And how about oh boy, Matt Patricia? I think we forgot that Matt Patricia is the new defensive coordinator right over there in Ohio State. I look at this schedule. We think that it's pretty easy for them. Is there any sort of worry as far as a learning curve for Ohio State with this brand new leadership at the coordinator position?
I would say yes, because they started off with Texas, right? I felt like it would have been a shortened curve if they didn't have such a tough slate out the gate. But I think that, that Texas that game's at 11 a.m. That's gross. Right? Oh, I hate those games. I'm just not an early morning game. Like, I think big game, Texas, Ohio State, nighttime, let me grill out. That's at 11 a.m. Ugh.
And don't let J-Tuck fool you. His flight from Vegas lands at 8 a.m. in the morning on August 30th. He was hoping that would be the late game.
No, I won't. No, I'll still be home. Yeah, I won't be going yet for that one. But yikes. Okay, so that's damn, man, that kind of took the air out. So Florida State and Alabama, we must be one of the night games, or are we the 3 o'clock game? Oh, whatever. Okay, so Texas, Ohio State, that's going to be a tough matchup out the gate, right? We know what Texas defense is already going to bring. So if your quarterback is saying it isn't ready, that could be a slight. But I feel like they have a wide receiver core. Ricardo Tate, Jeremiah Smith's one of the best in college football. I talked about tanking for Arch. You probably want to tank for Jeremiah Smith as well. They also have Caleb Downs. So they have some talent out there. But I think the separation in that game will come down to the quarterback position, which if I had to pick, I'm going to slightly favor Arch over Sayin. But I think after that, they can get back rolling. So I don't think that unless they lose in an ugly fashion, it's not going to bump them back too far in the rankings. Ohio State will be right back in the thick of things. And once they kind of get things moving, they'll be ready for the CFP and competing for another national championship.
Dude, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And first off, I got to say, this man looks unrecognizable.
For the last few years. But
it's Matt Patricia, dude.
Right. It doesn't look like him. Right.
I think like he went from looking like that dive bar local.
Right.
like to someone that hangs out at the country club in about 2 or 3 years away from the spotlight right there.
Right.
All right. It's wild, man. Like my theory with Ohio State last year was that why Chip Kelly even ended up taking that position last year, like right as their offensive play caller, is because I was convinced that he was just playing that vulture model where he was looking over Ryan Day and he said, you know what? If, for example, that we lose his national championship or we don't win a national championship, Day's going to get fired because he lost to Michigan. I'm about to get the reins of this bad boy.
Right.
As soon as they won the national championship, he was like, fuck it, I'm out.
I mean, I don't mind, you know. I mean, I guess I did coaching at the NFL level and college as well. And, you know, I'm really familiar with the offense and these guys, you know, sure, why not? You know, so.
My God. My God. Well, folks, that's going to have to do it for another edition of Roundtable College Football. Week 0 starts next week. All right. We have the Iowa State and Kansas State, a Big 12 matchup that we all get to look forward to and preview. And we are that much closer to actual week 1. All right. Unfortunately, yes, we just announced on the show that the Texas and Ohio State game is at 11 a.m. Central, noon EST. So make sure you have your alarm set in advance, but a lot of things that we will be unpacking on this show. Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we send them off, J-Tech?
I know. Next week, it all begins. And, you know, Dan, we'll talk about this off the grid, but on the 28th of August, that's a Thursday, I will be covering Nebraska versus Cincinnati at Arrowhead Stadium. So I might be actually on site when we do this show. I'm going to get all worked out, man. And, directly from Arrowhead for some college football. So I'm excited. I'm excited for college football. I love the college game. And you know, like I said, it's my last weekend kind of enjoy myself because I know I'm going to be glued to the TV. Like I kind of felt bad this past weekend because I sat back and I crunched preseason football all Saturday from when I woke up. Then, of course, the Cowboys played, so that post-game shows. And then Sunday, I turned around and did the same thing. I was like, all right, you gotta move around a little bit, man. You can't be sitting on your ass all day door dashing. When college football starts, but you can definitely, because you got 11 a.m. games, man. Like, you know, that pretty much starts your Saturday, but it's an amazing feeling. If you ever never got to experience, I have gotten to do it like 3 times thus far. If you get to go to a college game day and actually be there on college game day at ESPN, it's just amazing, man. It's just amazing.
It's infectious, man. It's crazy.
It is, man. You know, me and my guys were walking around with our cooler on our bag and, you know, Lee Corso and everything. It was Kansas versus TCU, and so I need Kansas to get good again, so I can have college game day come closer to me versus having to, you know, travel to them. But I love college football. So
I've been to a couple of college game days. I was at South Carolina, Georgia college game day back in college, like a long time ago. Okay. It was back when Marshawn Lattimore was like that running back that was taking over college ball for a while, and he had that absolutely gruesome injury. So I was at that game. So unfortunately, oh my God, it was horrific. And then Clemson as well for a college game day when they faced off against Georgia back when I was in college as well. Talk about a college town, man. I know that the SEC gets their flowers for tailgates, but Clemson gets it done too. I'm not sure. I've been to Clemson. It was the most amazing. I was decked out in Florida State gear, and they treated me like family. And you know, I was on the news, and people were inviting me and beers and all sorts of stuff. I had a blast down there in Clemson, and we lost that game, but I still had fun. So it's always a fun atmosphere of college football. Now I am going to go to a dirty, grimy rivalry game. And whenever you think about college football, just college in general, Kansas versus Missouri, it's a war zone because there's literally a street that separates us. A lot of people don't understand that. So it's Kansas City, Kansas. That's where I live. And there's Kansas City, Missouri, where the Chiefs are. There's one street that separates. It's called State Line. And Kansas and Missouri fans do not mix at all. So Sunflower Showdown. How close are the universities?
So Kansas is in Lawrence and Missouri's in Columbia. So probably about hour and a half away from each other. Yeah. So universities aren't close, but the two states are, and it's always a rivalry. I don't care if it's basketball, football, tennis, polo. It's just intense.
Ping pong, dude.
It's because back when I was in school, it used to be at Arrowhead Stadium because it was so massive. That's how many people would come out to those games. But now they're going to put it back on the actual campuses. So That's gonna be a fun one. I can't wait for that one. I told him I'm not working that one. I'm just gonna be a fan, and just go out there and just hang out like the good old days, man, and see. Hopefully, Kansas can hold themselves up versus the SEC opponents in the Missouri Tigers.
I'll tell you what, in 2 years from now, so you are going to see the Roundtable College Football Tour. All right.
Yeah.
Where we
it
go
might not be 2 years. It might be next year, man.
It might be next year.
It might be next year. Just touring around because I really just wanted to be able to go to LSU, go to Alabama, go to Georgia, and like Oregon. Like one of my good friends, he goes to all the Oregon games. I'm just like, selfishly, I haven't been to a Texas game, which I need to, because Anthony Hill, who's one of the top linebackers in all of college football, his dad was my college teammate and roommate. So, so I like, why I haven't gone to UT to go see this kid play? So I might need to put that in the schedule, because it's like, it's just a different atmosphere. It's just the atmosphere you can just feel it in the air, man.
Man, you love to see it. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on Monday. Same time, same place. Deuces.